Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the multiverse, wherever you might be listening, on this Earth, some parallel Earth, or variations of Earth that are sitting currently underwater. What does that mean? We'll get to that later. My name is Rogue Convoy, and welcome to Ultimate Mayhem. So, with the Batman being released, and everyone seemingly talking about that at this point, I figured it's time maybe we dived into the multiverse where evil Batmen exist. Yes, we are going to talk about Dark Knight's Metal. I have done this previously in another video where I talked about the event itself, but now I want to dive into the actual characters. So, in this three-part series, we're going to do the Batman Who Laughs as the main one, the Red Death, or as known as the Flash Batman, and the Drowned Batman, who is the female version of an Aquaman Batman, basically. So they all can be found in this. This is a compilation graphic novel of their origin stories. I will put a link below if you want to purchase it. It is a great read to find some of these stories that you might not find anywhere else. Or if you're a collector like me, you found the comics and you can't just like, yeah, I want to read it, but I don't want to take it out of its bag. So, this is a good starting point for it. So, with that, I'm going to talk a little bit today about the Batman Who Laughs and his origin story, and I'll kind of give you the summary of where we're going. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about Red Death, the Flash Batman from Earth Negative 52, and then we're also going to talk about Bryce Wayne, or the Drowned Batman, who comes to us from Earth Negative 11. Now, this particular Batman we're talking about today, this gentleman right here, is from Earth Negative 22. So, what does that mean? So, when the multiverse was created, there was obviously the main 52 Earths, but then there was also the Earths that were created from negative fears and all that, nightmares and stuff. So that is where we get these negative Earths, and that is where we get some of these darker Batman from. Now, later on, maybe in another year, maybe in a couple months or so, we'll talk about the others. But at this point, I figured these three are probably the best three to go with. So with that, let's dive in head first, and we'll get straight into it. So, and welcome to the Batman Who Laughs edition of Ultimate Mayhem. As you can see here, I have the first graphic novel, or the first comic book, that features the Batman Who Laughs, or one of them anyway. And like I said in previous video, that the Batman Who Laughs is a giant controversy, because they tend to disagree upon the when he comes from and where he kind of is. So people say Teen Titans number 52. People say that this particular comic, the Batman Who Laughs number 1. I'm not even sure at this point. It's still an open-ended debate. So I'm not going to beat down the history for this, because I will put a link in the video for my Dark Knight's Metal video, and you can read the history and listen to the history from there. See the history from there. Okay, so with that, let's just dive right in. Alright, so this particular Bruce Wayne. So there's 7 different Bruce Waynes, all of which share the same. A lot of these stories share the same precipice, really. They're basically, obviously the parents die in an alleyway, and then they become an orphan, live with Alfred, and eventually become the Caped Crusader. Now, okay, so, but there's always a twist with these particular Batman. There always is a twist. And when it comes to the Dark Multiverse, and it comes to the Batman, so we'll go through this one, for example, and so the Joker went on a killing spree, and after he found out that the same chemicals that made him into what he was were also at that point one thing that was killing him. So during his rampage, the Joker went on a giant rampage trying to kill everybody, making sure that if I'm going down, everybody's going with me, kind of thing. And Batman tried to stop him, but was ultimately captured by the Joker himself. He was forced to watch as Joker continued his spree, killing innocent civilians and eventually turning these children of these innocent civilians. So he's reliving the nightmare that is of his parents' death. That's basically what the Joker thought was the idea to go with. That reliving the bombing of hospitals, reliving the parents' death, turning the children basically into mad children after he poisons them with his own poison. But that's not where the final straw seems to come through. The final straw of the spree is when the Joker kills James Gordon, and then Batman breaks free from the drugs he's been on because the Joker's been drugging him this entire time, and he snaps the neck of the Joker and kills him in the process. So he breaks his one cardinal rule that he always has on Earth Zero and all that stuff, is the fact that he's breaking a cardinal rule of no killing whatsoever. The Joker, though, was not out of tricks, as he always had a backup plan in case of his death. Joker stored some of the chemicals that made him in his heart, which would turn the person that killed him into another version of the Joker. So he kept a little bit of the chemicals in his heart, and he ensuring basically that his own survival. When Batman snapped the neck of the Joker, he was the one to be infected, but originally he was unaware of it. So he was unaware of the consequences of what had happened. He basically just thought, okay, I got sprayed by the chemicals, I'll be fine, and I'll move on. But the fact is that the Batman fell to the effects of the Joker toxin within a week. So over a week, he's starting to giggle, he's starting to a little bit of laugh and stuff. People around him are starting to wonder. And eventually he gathers all of his proteges in one area, including his young son Damien. And he basically kills them all. Kills them all off because they know that what they're seeing is not the real Bruce Wayne. And the fact is that he does not want them to rat him out. So the only one he did save, and even then that was just sick to begin with, was his young son Damien, who basically he turned into one of the Robins. So these children that Bruce had gathered together are known as the Rabid Robins. Basically, they're vicious children who cannot be saved, but in process, they really couldn't do anything. And eventually, Batman tangles with everybody and kills every single Justice member from Earth -22. So every single Justice League member fell to Batman, and he saved Superman for last at this point. He takes Lois and his young son Jonathan, so Clark's young son Jonathan, and takes them up to the Watchtower, where he seals them in, basically using kryptonite gas, basically trying to kill Batman. Yeah, I say basically a lot. I agree with my friend at this point. I do say that a lot. And then he seals them in, eventually getting them to say, okay, enough's enough. And he releases black kryptonite gas into the room, eventually having all three being killed in the process. So after all of that, this Batman from Earth -22 is no more. And the Batman who laughs was born. And at that point, he was first recruited to the Dark Knights by Barbatos, so the evil god that's controlling all of them at that point. And basically so the team was defeated, though, and left Batman who laughs alive to escape to live to fight another day. After that, he manages to regather himself, and he went to war with the Justice League on Earth Zero once more. This time, though, he has a plan to manage in case he falls, in case he dies. So he already has a backup plan in case the death that he's expecting to happen happens. And so basically, he's killed by the Wonder Woman of Earth Zero, who is the warden of the prison at Themyscira. Basically, he had the invisible jet melted down, turned into bars for this prison, so the prisoners could think they could escape. Well, little did he know, though, that the Wonder Woman, I'm going to say Iron Woman, but it's not Iron Wonder Woman, was building an invisible chainsaw the entire time as he's ordering this plane to be destroyed. So she basically, okay, well he's not prepared for this, so she rips the chainsaw, cuts him in half. Okay, and that's where we're assuming that is where his death is. We are assuming at that point that is where the death of the Batman Who Laughs is. But in reality, the team thought that they had a backup plan there with him. But no, sad reality, not happening. So, if you remember, there was a DC Rebirth storyline, and they found the button of the comedian, and it was a whole big arc on that. We'll cover that later. I will talk about that much later. But for now, so they found this. So another version of Bruce Wayne found the button of the comedian, to which the Batman Who Laughs used to create the accident that made that particular Bruce Wayne become Dr. Manhattan. And quickly after that, before the basically this Bruce Wayne could become godlike, he prevented it using a knife, and basically lobotomized the good doctor, taking him down and hopefully, you know, using the body for his own advantage. So after that, the Batman Who Laughs gave the body to his minions to protect until such time as he would need it. So, for whatever reason, when he was attacked by Wonder Woman and the chainsaw was the thing that killed him, somehow she missed his head and his brain, which makes no sense to the rest of us. And the other Batman, so like the B-Rex and a couple of the other guys, the really skinny guy and the few other minions that he had, found the body and found the head, took the brain, and eventually enacted on his final plan, which was to place it inside the head of this Dr. Manhattan, or Bat-Hattan, if you really prefer the term. Once the Batman Who Laughs awakens, so once this Dr. Manhattan Batman Who Laughs hybrid awakens, he hears the B-Rex insulting him. So basically this giant T-Rex kind of Batman, again, it was funny to listen to, especially when Wonder Woman's sitting there making fun of him for 5 minutes. And basically instantly snaps his fingers and kills the B-Rex in the process. Perpetua, his god now, so basically the next person he's supposedly serving at that point, now summons him to her, and he manages to change himself into the previous form he had. So he looks like the Batman Who Laughs, but he's not really the Batman Who Laughs anymore. He had been given a warning that once the others had figured out what he had done, that they would come for him. And that is the truth. So he manages to kill everyone around him except the one special child, which was known as the Robin King, his most loyal servants. So the kid that we know as the Robin King, I'm actually going to do a video on later, because I found that topic with that particular character is a fascinating story. He tasks the child with protecting the Dark Multiverse while he is recovering, and while he's recovering, he's regaining his energy, he's building up strength, and he becomes what we now know as the Darkest Knight. And the Darkest Knight eventually amasses enough power to build his own version of the multiverse in the image that he sees fit, and hence it becomes known as the Last 52. So at that point, basically, it's Doomsday Clock all over again kind of thing. Dr. Manhattan created the New 52 as a joke and wanted to see if he can do it himself. And so this is where this Bat-Hattan becomes. And he returns to his goddess, completing his turn to become a god. He tells her of his plan, killing her in the process. So he basically fights her, and he kills her in the process. He then summons a group to fight the remaining heroes, including some of the undead and some of the original Dark Knights. So including obviously Merciless and the Devastator and all that. At that point, that is where he declares victory. Like, he's okay, done enough and is enough, and I'm done arguing with that. In the final act, the Darkest Knight is met by Diana, who has basically been powered up by this point, and she battles him through space and time. Eventually, the Darkest Knight is defeated and killed by Diana, who sacrifices herself in the process. So that comes into Infinite Frontier and the previous, like the comment of Shattered Realms and Realms Reforged, and basically throwing him into the sun and saving the multiverse in the process. So with that, we've talked now about the Batman Who Laughs. I've also given you a brief history of the Darkest Knight. Now, part 2 is going to be based on the Red Death, which, sorry, I'm just reaching for something here. I'm just reaching for something here so I can show you, which is this guy right here. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about, ooh, look at the shiny cover. We're going to talk about the origins of him, and we're also going to talk, again, it's all about Batman this week and its new topic. So let the multiverse be the guide that you seek. You know, let it guide you. Let it be the one that says, okay, here I am, and now follow me. If you want to follow me, you can. If you don't want to follow me, that's up to you as well. My name is Rogue Convoy, and this has been part 1 of the Batman Darkest Night edition, or as we know it, the Batman Who Laughs edition. Thank you.